Hey, everybody. I'm Brett Arnold of Yahoo Entertainment and the New Flesh Podcast.
And I'm Mark Dujsik of MarkReviewsMovies.com, and this is At the Movies Again, a weekly movie review podcast where two film critics discuss all the new movies in theaters and or on streaming. This week is packed. We have 13 movies, most of them in theaters in some way. A lot of them obviously in limited release. There aren't too many big releases because I'm guessing the Mario movie is still making a bunch of money. I don't pay attention to the box office, but I'm assuming that's why we have a lot of little things this week. Though, again, so many things. I don't even kind of want to introduce them because it's just too much.
Too many.
Agree? I just think we should get right into it because
that's fine.
Be a long and
yeah, there's double-digit number of movies. There are 13 movies. How many did you get to that I didn't get to?
So I got to 19.
Jesus Christ! So
it would have been 20 if a certain Netflix movie had actually given a screener.
Yeah,
but they didn't, and I don't have time. So
I started watching it this morning, but I ran out of time as well. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I don't even think I need to go through the ones that I didn't watch. Well, whatever. I will.
No, we could do that after.
Okay, we'll do that after. So we'll just get into it. The biggest movie of the week is Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which I'm not just saying that it's Lee Cronin's The Mummy. That is the title of the film, Lee Cronin's The Mummy. And if you're wondering why that is, I still kind of am afterwards, but I think it's more of like a marketing thing to me, where I think Blumhouse, showed their hand when they tweeted a bunch. Brendan Fraser is not in Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I think they're really trying to be like, this is something else. I know there's a new Mummy coming out later with Brendan Fraser. This is not that. And it's very much not that. But what is it? We'll talk about it. Here's the trailer for Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
Can I get 2 slices of pizza?
No.
Of course, honey.
No, you never ever finish 2.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Cannon. I'm Deputy Chief of the U.S. Embassy. Your daughter Katie has been found. She's alive.
It's very important you fully prepare yourself for what you're about to see. No sudden moves. No loud noises.
Hey, Butterfly. It's Mom and Dad.
Yeah, we are here.
Lee Cronin bought a split diopter and he said, God damn it, I'm going to get my money's worth. I'm going to use this thing. There are, I think, 20 split diopter shots throughout the movie. And the movie, he's not my favorite director. And in the hands of a director who doesn't really do anything for me, what do 20 split diopter shots add? None of them really feel like they're adding much to the proceedings. Anyway, tell me about Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which does feel like it's trying to be like, quote unquote, an IP update on The Mummy, which is like an old, 1930s or whatever movie that has been done a million times. This is a decidedly new take, which at first I was totally into, found it very interesting and compelling and harrowing as a parent. And then it really lost me because there's like tones at odds with each other in this movie, I think, which are treating the kidnapping of a child and the child being returned after being mummified as, a horror, as the horrific experience that it would be. And then the movie turns into a gross out horror fest that he thinks he's Sam Raimi, which he already proved to me with Evil Dead Rise that he's no Sam Raimi. So I found this pretty disappointing, ultimately.
Yeah, we were split on Evil Dead Rise, which I
most
do think
people
we
liked
covered.
It.
Most
people liked it. I did not. Yeah.
And I'm just gonna, I didn't care for Lee Cronin's The Mummy, unfortunately. Although it does start off interesting with a young girl with her parents living in Cairo is abducted by someone local, a local magician, as the character is credited, is mummified and turned into this unnatural thing that gets returned home to Albuquerque and starts doing some weird things when she's at home. And it starts infecting the family with a lot of evil and all of that stuff. It's essentially a demonic possession movie. And I think that's what the big thing that threw me off is that these movies, the Mummy movies, I think they are all connected by rights, by copyright stuff. That the one with Boris Karloff from 1930s, whatever, is somehow connected to the Brendan Fraser stuff just because they're the same studio. And I think that this is the same thing.
Right? Yeah.
But this just doesn't feel, it just feels like a demonic possession movie dressed up in the garb of some Egyptian mythology, which it felt empty and hollow and repetitive and predictable by the end. The only thing that is somewhat new is Cronin's fascination with body horror. There are a couple of things that are gross here, and that's about it. And I don't know if that's enough to carry what is a completely formulaic experience once it gets going into that. There's an evil presence inside this girl. It's going to come out in the exact ways you expect, like the body contortioning, in weird angles and people yelling different rituals at her to try to get her to stop doing everything. It's so predictable.
Yeah, that's what's ultimately disappointing is it does present itself as kind of this epic, right? At the beginning, it feels like, well, first of all, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes long. It's kind of unforgivably long. You do feel that the length, but it opens with before the kidnapping. So you get to meet this innocent child and then watch her get, the most horrific thing possible happen to this person. And maybe it's newfound sensitivity. And I'm a father of a 2-year-old daughter, almost 3-year-old daughter now. Jesus Christ. And there's something to it that, that's fine. I want to be affected by movies in that way. Like it got under my skin and I was like with it. But then do you understand why I'm like, okay, tonally, when it's doing a scene that personally I found, I don't know if you've seen Scary Movie 3 as many times as I have. There's a scene in that movie that's like I think it's Brenda or someone's at a wake and is dead, and like there's an open casket, and it's like a very spoofy version of what happens with a casket at a funeral in a comedy. And it also reminded me of Drag Me to Hell, but I'm like, you're like in this movie that's so horrific. I'm not laughing when all these horrible things are happening to these people. It's like you're putting these, like, it's different in a horror movie when it's like horny teens getting killed versus just like a completely innocent 7-year-old. I don't know if I feel like a softie or something all of a sudden, because I do love that this is like a studio movie that is just so fucking nasty and mean. And like there's something to that. And in theory, I love that. But this movie, the tonal whiplash took me out of it. And I didn't like, by the time the mummy girl is sucking on toes and saying, I want to lick your little piggies, I'm like, what is this? It just is a gross out fest, but I was compelled by the stuff before that. So I wasn't really compelled by the gross out fest, although the first probably body horror moment with the toenail is what I'll say without ruining it. Horrific, disgusting.
It's very gross. I was looking away a lot during that part just because it's
so like there's something to it.
And then what ends up happening in that scene, I was not anticipating. So I, give it some credit there, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I do want to give it some credit. I do think it's kind of halfway there, but by the end, it lost me. It's nice to see Jack Reynor again. I really like Jack Reynor, the lead actor in this movie. What would people know him from? I like Sing Street a lot.
Yes,
and he's in that.
He's the older brother in Sing
He's the older brother in that.
Midsummer, obviously. He's the boyfriend. Right.
He's the boyfriend in Midsummer. But yeah, and I think he's also in Free Fire, which is Ben Wheatley, who we'll talk about in a minute. Ben Wheatley made Free Fire, which is a movie I love, and he's in that, I think, as well. But I haven't seen him in a while, so I was delighted to see that he was in this. The girl is... Do you know if it's the same little girl playing the mummy version of herself? Or if it's like...
I don't know. Well, I mean, there are two different actresses playing the girl. There's a younger girl in the early scenes, and then like
as
far as I know,
version or whatever. Yeah,
as far as I know, the older version is the same actress to just
that's what I was wondering, if they really put a young person through all that makeup and stuff.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
You know what? I really did like that makeup. That it looks like worn out leather. Her skin now.
Oh yeah,
if that even is her skin.
Yes, exactly, because of the way that she's mummified and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I even found, I won't reveal what it is, obviously, but like it's kind of like a mystery of like what happened to her, right? And I think the reveal of what happened to her was actually kind of a compelling. I think it's very compelling of a horror premise, and that's why I'm so disappointed in the movie for just becoming a pretty rote demonic possession movie at a certain point where it's not just affecting her, but like it's also affecting the other family members. And it just felt like it was at a certain point, like it really just, I don't know. I feel like there's something about the title, even like Lee Cronin's The Mummy. It makes you think it's going to be this grandiose thing that has something to say or it has its own unique vision. So when it was ended up being so derivative, I was kind of thrown. I was like, oh, it's just another horror movie. Where the Mummy thing is, yes, it's definitely the vehicle for the horror, but it really is just doing everything that if this movie was about her being exercised by the Catholic Church or whatever, it would be the same movie in a lot of ways.
Which of course makes no sense that this thing, that whatever it is, would have any comprehension of
Tropes.
Christianity.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like I guess at some point it caught up with all of the exorcism movies that have been out, because otherwise, like, what's the point of it having? This is like a 3,000-year-old thing that's going on. And
I mean, I think it's such a
it's more than that. It's like 5,000 years old.
And I think like the sarcophagus, whatever you call it, the coffin, like all of that imagery is cool and interesting. Like I kind of get like why they bought this and were like, yeah, we'll give you $20 million to make this movie that's kind of bigger than Blumhouse usually is, you know? Like it feels like it's a bigger budget thing for Blumhouse, even though it's still relatively small.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could tell there were budget limitations whenever there's visual effects that show up, like the beetle and
aren't there
the digital vomit that's very key to the climax.
Yeah, and there's of course 2 sandstorms in this movie, but they never used the song Sandstorm. Huge missed opportunity.
They also don't look that good.
Yeah, they don't. So I don't know.
Issue.
I'm compelled by like this is a big movie that it's gonna make some money. It's in a lot of theaters and it's really nasty and mean. But again, I'm like, at what cost and what is he trying to get out of the audience? What does he want the audience to feel? And it seems like he's trying to go for like an Evil Dead kind of horror where you're scared, but you're also laughing because it's also funny what's going on, which works in Evil Dead because Raimi's a master of this exact genre that he basically invented, the spookablast that he calls it. But I think Cronin just tries to do that, but he's too mean or something. The energy is completely different. So like when the grandma becomes essentially a Deadite in this movie from an Evil Dead movie, it's just like, this doesn't work. This doesn't have the cheekiness. That's just the same exact review that I gave Evil Dead Rise, I'm pretty sure, if we were to go back and listen. I feel like I had the same problem that I had with them last time, where I'm like, you can reference Evil Dead and say whatever the lines are from the movie and have characters say them, but there's the energy's off. It's not fun when it's just like, I don't know. I didn't find it fun, I guess. I found it like just mean in a way that was not entertaining. I don't know.
You know what's weird about this, for me at least, is that I found more relatable, or at least sympathetic, about the characters in Evil Dead Rise than I did in this. So this has a premise that should get you thinking, it should get you upset by the entire idea that this girl is abducted, turned into this thing, and then the family is trying to figure it out. But instead, you're right. Yeah, turning a lot of this stuff into jokes, even as bad taste as they are, is weird. And it doesn't quite fit. And maybe it should be more grounded in a sense of humanity and what people would actually be going through in this kind of situation, instead of doing whatever it's doing. You know, if you're going to do a demonic possession movie and dress it up as a mummy movie, why not copy The Exorcist, which is entirely about how, you know, a mother and, you know, people connected to this girl actually react to something they don't understand and they can't figure out. That would at least be a smart idea.
And people around them getting injured or dead, you know?
And instead, this one is just trying to play jokes with all of its gross out horror.
It's so disappointing. Like, why turn your premise that I was like stomach churned, horrified thinking about? Like, what if someone was grooming your child and kidnapped them, and it's even worse than you could possibly think of? Like, it's not even. It's just crazy. Like, the thing that happens in this movie is a girl is kidnapped and put in a sarcophagus and buried
for 8 years.
For eight years, and it was supposed to be longer. It was supposed to be many, many, many years.
Yeah.
And like I don't want to ruin what I think the reveal is, and because I think it's cool. I mean, maybe
It's okay. It's okay. And I think that I found that big reveal with, I don't want to say too much either, but
I think it's kind of obvious, I guess, maybe.
yeah, it is. They kind of explain it as it goes because you have
Yeah.
an archaeology professor who does a bit of exposition. You have the cop who does some, and then you have the magician.
Yeah, by the
who does
time
rest
they
of
are
the girl.
introducing the archaeology professor, I'm like, how many more characters are going to introduce 2 hours
I know.
and 90 minutes into this movie?
Yeah, I know.
Whatever.
There's no reason for a lot of them, but I
Yeah.
was waiting. I was genuinely waiting for something sincerely horrific to happen when that big reveal happens, and instead it feels anticlimactic just because, especially considering everything that's come before it, you're really anticipating something terrifying to happen, and instead it's more just visual effects, and it's exactly what every other character has been telling you is going to happen
And
ends
also,
up happening.
I know you mentioned The Exorcist already, but I was really struck by how indebted to that the ending is too. Like in terms of
Yes.
what, like, I'm just like, God, I've seen all this shit before. Like, I can't
Yeah.
believe for a movie that at first I was like, I haven't seen a child be kidnapped exactly this way before. I was fully on board for where it was going, and then by the time it turns into, again, he's trying to thread the needle like what Raimi does between horror and comedy, and it just doesn't work because the horror is too horrific, which is like a testament to him that he made this movie that upset me. But I don't know. It's disappointing ultimately. And I wonder, I don't know what I wonder, but it's 2.5 stars or 2 stars for me, actually.
Okay, I was gonna say that I was gonna question.
It's 2.5 out of 5, 2 out of 4.
Yes,
thing.
yeah. Out of 4 stars for me, 2 stars as well for Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which again, Brendan Fraser is not in. I feel like they really wanted people to know that. There were rumors. I don't know how much attention you pay to the trades and shit, but there were rumors that this had like disastrous test screenings, and the writing on the wall was that people really did think that it was going to be a Brendan Fraser thing when they heard the title or something. I don't know how much that was people just bullshitting. It sounds like a joke, but
It almost does, but it
know.
also doesn't, just because there have been, people are interested in The Mummy because of anniversary showings. They're screening it, for the original.
They're showing
They're
showing returns. Yeah, right now I feel like it's playing.
Yeah.
And I know I've seen either that one or the original, the 1999 Brendan Fraser at an AMC that was playing it. So yeah, those movies are cult things now. They're making a new one with Radio Silence directing,
and that's why everybody, I think, is assuming when they hear, "Oh, The Mummy,"
it's already out. Like, yeah, wow,
yeah,
it's already
cool.
here.
I want to go see it. So instead, you throw Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which I don't know if it helps or hurts or does anything.
It gives him authorship of it. It's like,
it's fine.
But
no
one knows who he is. Like that's what's funny to me.
Yeah,
but
but that's fine. It's all
no
a
one knows who
marketing
he
thing.
is. It's all marketing. I don't think it helped or hurt it in any way. Just have it there. I think it's just more a curiosity thing. And anyway, moving on. The next movie we're talking about is called Normal. It stars Bob Odenkirk. It is directed by Ben Wheatley, who is a very interesting director who's kind of shifted to, I guess this is kind of a smaller movie, but like studio fare. Like he directed The Meg 2, which I thought was quite bad. But what was his like calling card? The Kill List. Kill List is really good. In the Earth, pretty good. He did that.
Yeah, a lot of horror.
Like, yeah, and then he did that
horror.
Ballard book, High Rise.
Oh God. Oh.
Yeah, he did that,
Yeah.
and then he did a Hitchcock thing on Netflix, which I never watched, the Rebecca remake. Did you know about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. I did watch that. It's not good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not. Anyway, I kind of like this one. Here's the trailer for Normal, starring Bob Odenkirk.
Here.
I used to be a regular sheriff. I walked through life with my head held high. I kind of stopped trusting my instincts.
Death comes for us all, don't it, lawman?
You've been listening to my internal monologue, haven't you? I took a sheriff job in a little town called Normal, Minnesota.
Weather advisory, winter storm threatening later this week.
Reports 2 assholes screaming at each other.
All right, separate! People seem friendly enough. Whoa, 16.8 million. Where the hell did this town get that kind of money?
Community really came together on that one.
Yeah, I would say.
All right, Mark, please tell me why this movie, in spite of me being able to describe it as this movie, kind of like Fargo by way of Hot Fuzz with a little Yakuza action in it. Tell me about it.
Yeah, this is one where I think they want you to think of the other movie that Bob Odenkirk, Nobody and Nobody 2, they want you to think that because it does eventually turn into an action movie. It's just a small town, Minnesota, ends up in a deal with the Yakuza, and Bob Odenkirk plays a interim sheriff who comes in and starts looking into stuff, and before he could really figure it out, everything comes crashing down on him, and he's caught up in this big old shootout where everybody's trying to kill everybody else. I'm going to say I really enjoyed maybe the first half hour of this, where it is just setting up the town. And
Can I tell you something about that first half hour?
Sure.
I read an interview that a friend did with Bob Odenkirk just this morning, and Bob Odenkirk specifically, I think he has a writing credit on this?
Story credit, I think.
Yeah, story credit. The reason he does is because all the work he did in that first act, where he said he really honed in on the character, and like what I loved about that is how he starts seeing the malfeasance and like doesn't give a shit, even though he's a sheriff. He's like, this isn't my problem, which I really liked.
Yeah, he has a certain way of doing law enforcement, which is more just give people a second chance, give people the benefit of the doubt, just try to, give people a chance to do the right thing so that they could do the right thing instead of coming down hard on them and doing everything. So I really like the town setup. I really like all the characters, and I really, really, really like Odenkirk's performance here. He is just playing this regular guy stuck in this situation. He doesn't change anything about the character from that first act where it is just him going around doing his work. He doesn't change that for the rest of the movie, which is all about violence. It's all about people just trying to kill him and him trying to get out of town. I really appreciate the fact that he doesn't lean into the humor that comes out of that. He's just playing this character the same way the entire time. That consistency is so important because the movie really does change once the action erupts. And I wasn't entirely on board with it, but the fact that Odenkirk is so good here, I did ultimately feel that it was worthwhile as a movie, even though, Wheatley, you brought up Free Fire. That was one that I found kind of repetitive and dull just because I know you like it.
Well,
but
by nature, it's just like a single location gunfight movie, 80 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. This one is kind of the same thing. It's just that there are slightly more locations, but it is just people shooting at each other in, small confined spaces and doing other, fighting stuff it's exactly what you expect it to be. But I think Odenkirk is so good here and really gets this character right that I think the movie is ultimately worthwhile.
And Wheatley is a competent director that the gunfights are pretty good and the action's pretty good. And the script might not be as interesting or as funny as like Hot Fuzz or something, but you really feel all that influence throughout, especially Fargo. I think it's funny that he's in this, Bob Odenkirk's in this because he's such an Illinois guy that I'm sure he was like, can we make it Normal, Illinois? Come on. Like Normal, Illinois is a real place. Let's make it there. But no, it makes it would lose the Fargo-ness if it weren't where it's set. Anyway, yeah, it's definitely like unassuming and nothing amazing, but it does what it sets out to do really well. And Odenkirk provides if Odenkirk wasn't in this, we'd have a completely different review today. Like it's so carried by him being such a charming, good presence. Did we mention Henry Winkler's in this and Lena Headey? Like it's an interesting, impressive cast. But yeah, it's like a smaller one of these kind of movies, but also the action doesn't feel small. And it's different in that Odenkirk, as we've mentioned, in Nobody, he's like one of those like John Wick ex somebody guys who now is retired and has a set of skills. Not here. He's just a sheriff, a regular small town sheriff named Ulysses, which is a fun detail also.
Who doesn't know how to use some of the heavy artillery that he comes into contact with.
Yeah.
Kind of like right at the beginning when he gets I don't want to say exactly what happens. He gets a grenade launcher and he doesn't exactly know how to aim it properly. And that turns into a thing.
Yeah, it's like, kind of a throwaway movie, but it's so well done in the respect that, it's so good at doing what it's doing. Like it's well directed and Odenkirk's a joy to watch that it's like, yeah, I'll recommend this movie. 3 stars for Normal.
Yeah, 3 stars for me as well for Normal. It's just, it's fun, but it is, Odenkirk really does carry it and he keeps it going when I don't know if it necessarily should have worked. You are exactly right. If he wasn't in this movie, it might have been completely different.
Yeah.
It would have been completely different, and we might not have liked it as much.
Everyone check out Brandon's interview with Odenkirk in Men's Health online and maybe in print. I'm not sure. But it's a really great interview, and you really get the sense that how much Odenkirk cares about these things and the characters he plays, and he really thinks about what the audience will respond to. It was really interesting to read. I was really compelled by it. Anyway, next up, I think it's my favorite movie of the year right now. The Christophers. It's no surprise for anyone who listens to the show and knows how much I love Steven Soderbergh. This is the latest from Steven Soderbergh. He made how many movies last year? 2? I guess 3 if you count this one, because this technically I think was a festival movie last year. Insane work ethic my man has. Here's a trailer for The Christophers. It stars with Ian McKellen and Michaela Cole, who you may know from the HBO show I May Destroy You. She hasn't been in anything really since then, and then all of a sudden she's in this, and she's in Mother Mary, which we'll talk about next week, unless Mark saw it and it's out today, which I don't remember.
Oh, I'm seeing it next week.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The trailer for The Christophers. Here you go. Steven Soderbergh.
Other door.
You said this was a restoration job. It's a forgery job.
We know why you hate him.
Think of this as a way to get revenge.
This isn't about the unfinished Christophers, is it? These don't even speak of them.
Everybody knows what one original Julian Sklar from that period is worth.
I lied. You ought to speak of them once. When you tell me they are no more, then bring me the evidence. It's not that I don't trust you, Laurie. It's just that I don't trust you. Have you ever been betrayed, Laurie?
I loved this movie. I think it's a shoo-in for Best Original Screenplay nomination. I think it's an incredible script. I think it's very well directed. I think the performances are amazing. Ian McKellen hasn't had a role this good in I don't know how long. He's incredible. I was very, very, very moved by this movie. I think you were less enthused by it, but take me through what's going on with the Christophers.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a two-hander. It's Michaela Cole playing an art restoration, a freelance art restorationist who also works at a food truck because art doesn't make money for people ever. And so
impossible, as in most Soderbergh movies, not to immediately input Soderbergh into his characters. I just love the way he makes his movies. Anyway.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely be talking about Soderbergh's influence, or at least the perspective of Soderbergh directing this movie in particular. Ian McKellen plays a famous artist, Julian Sklar, who has kind of washed up since its heyday in the 90s, and now just kind of goes around. He does cameo videos, so he just gets paid money to make personalized messages to people, and if he signs them, then he gets paid more from the people getting it. So his 2 kids want the Cole character to forge some paintings that they found up in the attic of one of his apartments that he started, but that he hasn't finished yet. So they want her to complete those paintings in his style so that when he dies, they can make a lot of money, because there's really nothing else in the estate that's going to be worth anything. I guess London flat property isn't worth any money. I guess that's one of the things. Anyway, but the point is, I really like this movie just because it is about this relationship between the forger and the artist, and it has them talking directly about art and the creation of art and what is art for and who is art for and what's the purpose of it and what's the meaning of it and all that. They actually talk about this stuff while the movie is also doing this nice little gameplay where they are both trying to get one up on each other in terms of, doing the forgery, keeping the forgeries away from her, when they both realize they have common foes, kind of teaming up, but maybe not necessarily teaming up. It's very funny. It's very thoughtful. And then you said you were moved by the end. I kind of was too. And I was surprised by that, because it does seem so, because McKellen is playing that role.
He's so funny and
he's very
lacerating.
funny.
And
yes, exactly. You don't expect to be moved by the end, but it does become about something else. It does become about that relationship between not just an artist and a forger, but 2 artists, and what that means to them and what they learn from each other along the way. And I was not anticipating that angle, so I did enjoy it.
It's such an interesting movie about authorship and art and influences, whether you see them or you don't. And I was just so moved. The scene where Michaela Cole just like runs down what she sees in the Christophers in each one, and how like he doesn't understand, he just puts them in the closet, doesn't want to think about this horrible time in his life that the art reminds him of. And she systematically, because she's such an art critic or knows art so well, she looks at these artwork and just says, this one, you were like, in love with this guy at this point, and you can feel it and see it in the art. And here you were checked out. And it's just the movie is doing so many things. It's like a heist movie kind of in one way, where it's like someone's, they're trying to pull a heist on this guy in a way where they steal stuff. They are doing forgery to try to make money. Like there's a lot of elements of that, but the movie is just so character based, and finding out new things about them as the movie goes along. It's really smart in how they reveal information. Like we don't know what Michaela Cole's character's backstory or motivation is like really, or he really doesn't know. The audience kind of knows, but like the way she unveils it, the way he is moved to do art again, potentially. There's all this stuff with the American Idol style reality show that he did that made him be known as like an art critic who's mean, like a Simon Cowell type, instead of the wonderful artist he is. It's about capitalism intersecting with art and how this guy hates that. It's just so many of Soderbergh things. If you know anything about Soderbergh and you read his interviews, you know how he makes movies. All of these things are things he's interested in. So it's very compelling to watch. But it's also just really fun to watch Ian McKellen sink into a role that isn't like fucking Magneto for the millionth time or whatever. And he's just having fun, like basically playing psychological games with this woman. And I don't know. I found it so, some people will say it's understated, not really that interesting, blah, blah, blah. But like, this is exactly my wheelhouse of a movie about art and what is art. Is a forgery its own art? What does it mean when an author makes something? Who is it for? Like, I just think it's so interesting, especially if you put on the meta lens of prolific artist Steven Soderbergh pontificating about all these things. He's his own cinematographer, editor, and all this other things. It's all very compelling to me in a meta way and in a story way. But yeah, very intimate movie. Ian McKellen's best role in ages. Michaela Cole's great as like a foil to that character. I'm so moved by this movie. I loved all the Soderbergh movies from the last few years. I think this is my favorite in quite a while. It's 4 stars for me for the Christophers, a movie I'm excited to revisit.
Very cool. 3 stars for me for the Christophers. I did find it interesting that Soderbergh made this movie in particular. I do appreciate that. I don't know if I dove into it as much in my thinking, because maybe because I was caught up in the characters and the story, and so I didn't read too much into it. But it is interesting that Soderbergh did make this one particularly to talk about.
Yes. I just think it's such an introspective, smart movie about, art, which like,
yeah, I really like movies that have smart characters. Well,
you know what's so funny?
Caring about it.
I'm a little bummed we're not talking about Mother Mary today, just because it is the opposite of this to me, where it's like about art, and I'm gushing about how this movie's about art. That movie's about art, and it's just like a tortured metaphor that doesn't work at all. And I'm like, that's a bad movie about art. But this is a great movie about art.
Yeah, I'll see it next week. I'll see Mother Mary next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. David Lowery's.
They kind of threw us. They didn't really care if people in Chicago saw it.
Well, I think they're not.
I will say there was a chance to see it. They just didn't set it up in a way that was very helpful to anybody, apparently. So that's all I'll say. Anyway, I'll see it next week. We'll talk about it next week.
3
Meanwhile,
from you.
Christophers.
Yeah.
3 from me, 4 from you.
Yeah,
which I believe is
I'm not. I think it
might be your second 4-star.
Yeah, someone has a record of this.
Someone
did
kept track.
Next up,
I think maybe you should start keeping track too. By the way,
yeah, maybe at this point. Aren't there AI programs that can do that? Can I like Google at this point? What did Brett Arnold rate this movie, and it will tell me? I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't want to use.
It'll give you your letterbox thing, and you're like, that doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't help. Next up, let's talk about Balls Up. A Peter Farrelly movie, not quite a Farrelly Brothers film. And I would say it's more from the director of Ricky Stenicki than it is from the director of such films as There's Something About Mary and Kingpin. What other ones are big ones?
Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber, of course. All right, here's a trailer for Balls Up, starring Mark Wahlberg and Paul Walter Hauser.
In order to win the World Cup account, I have devised a condom that covers both the penis and the testicles.
What is happening here? What do we...
I don't know. I can't look away.
Is Steve from HR here?
I didn't invite him. Ugh, the fun police.
Actually, I'm here.
Oh, fuck.
This is my product. I was working out the kinks.
Oh, it had some kink.
I should be the one showcasing it.
There is no better designer than you, Elijah, but there's no better salesman than Brad.
Introducing the Balls Up.
Why hasn't anyone thought of this before? The official condom of Brazil 2025 is...
Could they not have taken longer to get the premise set up? Jesus Christ.
I mean, I kind of feels that way watching the movie too, but
It does. Well, this movie, Mark, this is my impression of it. It feels like it was conceived by someone reading like a list of facts, and they were like, the World Cup is the place where the most condoms are used, and the event where the most condoms are used. And someone said, that seems like a funny idea for a comedy with a lot of dick jokes. And they were not right. It's not that funny. But the rest, we don't even get to the premise of the movie in the trailer. Yes, they're guys who work at a condom company and invent a condom that includes the balls. But the premise is they get onto the pitch at the World Cup game, ruining the game for Brazil, and then all of Brazil wants to kill them, and they have to try to like survive. It's kind of offensive.
You think
It's a little offensive to be like, Brazilians love football so much they want to kill everyone if they ruin their game. It's a little broad and stupid, but there are not. I laughed a few times. I thought the karaoke scene was actually kind of funny. It just kind of out of nowhere, nothing to do with anything. There's probably a few character-based laughs because I like Paul Walter Hauser, and he is trying really hard to be funny. Mark Wahlberg is trying maybe a little harder than usual, but is pretty. He's on a streak of garbage. I really thought this was. I liked Ricky Stenicki. Okay, like there's some funny stuff in there. This one, fewer and far between funny stuff, and a lot of like goofy stuff.
Yeah,
like Sacha Baron Cohen taking up way too much time.
Oh, doing the Christopher Walken by way of Brazil accent. It was that performance is weird. That character is weird. That entire joke setup within that makes no sense because he's the one person in Brazil who doesn't want to kill them apparently, but then the entire scene revolves around him wanting to kill them later on just because of reasons, because that's I guess the joke of the movie. It's so strange that this movie it belabors all the jokes that it's trying to set up eventually. That thing with the fish in the river that's set up like twice, I believe, before it actually happens, or one time right before it happens. And then the gag itself isn't that funny to begin with. But then there are also missed opportunities. I don't know how many times people keep saying, why didn't anybody think about that when you're talking about a condom that covers the entire package? And there's no joke there. I kept waiting for like, oh, this is why, because the condom does this or something. I was waiting for some kind of payoff to that because it is a setup that they keep going over and over again. But no, it's just like
they just think it's inherently funny.
They just think it's a funny idea and a brilliant idea, I guess. Like, okay, cool. I guess you figured that out. But yeah, I don't know. It's trying so hard and it's not that funny. It has a couple of jokes. You did point out some of the funny ones. I did also like the karaoke thing, but that has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. The movie's big jokes don't land, but its smaller ones, the ones that are just incidental that don't mean that much, occasionally do land. But yeah, the entire premise, just an entire country of people is apparently murderous, just chasing them down and trying to kill them. And nobody thought, do we really want to do this? Do we really want to do this right now? Do we really want to have a bunch of people trying to kill a bunch of Americans and who, people who look a certain way and talk a certain way? Do we really want that? Nobody thought of that, apparently. It's not that.
Yeah, it's not worth the trouble.
I don't even want to get into it because it is supposed to be a stupid, offensive comedy, but it's not stupid, and the way that it's offensive isn't even funny.
Yeah, it's just boring. Like it's not violently I think my friend Ali wrote, it's not viciously, violently dumb. It's just boring. It like, it opens promisingly enough, he says, with Benjamin Bratt falling off the wagon. But then it never recovers, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't know. It's very forgettable, bad movie. I think it's funny that Paul Walter Hauser is famously really like mean to his own movies on Letterboxd. He's like, this one was only 2.5 stars. It wasn't very good. He gave it 4 stars and said, I think it's really funny and I'm proud of it. Disagree.
I mean,
that's okay.
Good for him.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. 1.5, I guess, for Balls Up.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. 1.5 stars for Balls Up. Currently streaming on Prime Video, along with, I believe, Ricky Stenicki was a Prime Video movie too.
Peter Farrelly's over there. They got him.
Which we both like that one a little bit better.
He did another one over there too. The Efron one. Wasn't that a?
No, that was Apple. That was the greatest beer run ever.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, boy. He's had a weird career post Best Picture win, huh?
Yeah.
Green Book. Anyway, lest we
Green Book alone, that entire thing was weird. Him trying to become serious director and then making a movie that won Best Picture. Okay.
Yeah, okay, he did it. He achieved everything. Now he's making ball
trying to
condom comedies. Yeah.
He's trying to reclaim his former glory. And coming up very short.
Where's the other guy? It's like a Coen situation. Bobby? Yeah, where's Bobby? Like
great question.
They make magic together. What did Champions? Who made that one? Was that Peter also?
Oh, yeah, Champions.
No, Champions was Bobby. Yeah. So Bobby, they just split. And Bobby's making Bobby made also, I didn't watch this one, but that Jack Black Santa movie that was on streaming.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of sad that's where the state of play. Comedies don't make money in theaters anymore because they don't fucking make them. It's not because they don't make money. They don't fucking put them in theaters anymore because Adam Sandler went to Netflix or whatever. And now the Farrelly brothers are split up and making bad streaming shit. Anyway, Mark and I are going to disagree on this one. Erupcja. I'm assuming it means eruption in Polish. Here's the movie.
Yes, that is correct.
I didn't look it up. I was riding the vibes of the movie. Charlie XCX, Jeremy O'Harris, and a bunch of Polish people are in this movie. I found it very compelling. Here's the trailer.
Dziękuję.
Dziękuję. And how do you say you're welcome?
Nie ma za co.
Nie ma za co.
Mhm.
And I love you. I didn't expect Warsaw to be so beautiful. Is it as romantic as you remembered?
Did I say that?
We might have an issue. Seems our flight's been cancelled. Volcanic ash.
You know, I think I'm going to go and explore, actually.
I met a friend in Warsaw. Nell, why are you here?
Mount Etna erupted yesterday. Can I come up?
You look the same.
And you look different.
My boyfriend's gonna propose tomorrow.
With him, the earth doesn't shake.
I found this so romantic and deeply moving and like the magical realism, I guess you'd call it. I don't know what you want to call it, but like the movie kind of tell me the premise and then I'll go from there because I guess what I'm saying is
I'm very curious because now I also feel like I'm about to kind of maybe spoil it because not spoil it.
No,
for you, I mean,
I see.
The way
you're gonna shit all over it. Yeah,
I might not describe it in as favorable or light as you will. So it's about Charlie XCX's character Bethany and her boyfriend Rob, played by Will Madden. They travel to Warsaw for a romantic getaway vacation. He wanted to go to Paris, but she thought that was too cliched of romantic getaway, so they go to Warsaw. But she actually wants to go to Warsaw because her old, maybe really good friend and maybe something more, Nell, played by Lena Gora, lives there. And when the two of them randomly connect in any ways after they grew up together, things happen. Apparently they believe that volcanoes erupt essentially whenever they get together because it happens a lot when they get together, and that's
immediately
kind of the premise.
I was like, hell yeah, this is so cool. I love the idea of that. Like they're making their love story or whatever you want to call it like this otherworldly thing that like they almost can't even control. I feel like I was really moved by that. I was like, that's so cool that like, you know, Charlie XCX is about to get proposed to by this guy who's completely normal, nice guy, but she clearly isn't into it. And it's so funny to me. She tricked her boyfriend who's about to propose into going to Warsaw instead of like Paris or something, because she claims Paris or Warsaw super romantic, which like nobody, whenever they tell that to someone, they like, act like that's crazy. And it is kind of crazy because the real reason she's there is because she wants to see this girl. So I just found it so like it's kind of about the things not said kind of movie. And I was really into the idea of like this woman on vacation knows she's about to get proposed to and like literally just leaves that dude high and dry. He's off there looking for her, thinking that who knows what happened to her. And she's out there living what she thinks is like the universe is telling her to do, you know, like I don't know. There's something to it. And I really liked it.
But I'm very confused about finding it romantic because I don't even think that's the intention. I don't even think the intention of the movie is for it to be romantic between the two women, because they make a big point right at the start. We didn't even talk about the fact that there's a narrator who fills in all of the gaps that are in the screenplay.
Which I read a lot of interviews with
a lot of this was clearly improvised because all of the actors, all the main actors have writing credits. And that's a telltale sign that they just showed up on location and didn't know what they were going to do.
Well, yeah, this guy has a whole style of filmmaking. That's what he does. I've never liked any of his movies before. This is the first one I thought that actually worked. But he also said that the movie had no narration, and then someone suggested that he add this narration, and then he's like, it unlocked the entire movie for me.
Of course it did, because it explains everything that they don't talk about in the movie, because it's not just about what's unsaid, it's about what's unshown. I don't even know if the movie is telling you if these two women have currently or have ever had a romantic bond, or if it's just or I'm pointing it out, or if it's Charlie XCX's character just playing around to try to get out of stuff.
Yeah,
that's the entire thing, is she's coming up with excuses to get out of things, like the uncomfortable situation of being proposed to by a boyfriend that you don't really love, and so she's like, let's go to Warsaw. And then this entire thing about volcanoes erupting, that's a way to get out of responsibility for stuff. It's setting it up in that way that I don't even think it is romantic, and I don't know if it's supposed to be romantic.
I think it's supposed to be. Yeah,
I don't think it is. I really don't. And I'm just going to point out to like where the movie ultimately goes and how it ends and what they reveal to say that. But beyond that, I didn't feel any kind of connection between the two of them. They just kind of hang out and run around Warsaw and drink. And there's some stuff that apparently happens off screen. You can kind of hear them laughing or giggling or whatever. Like what is going on? Are we supposed to actually believe that they are in love, or at least that they have this? I didn't feel that connection at all. And I think that might be intentional, but I also do think that it's a short movie just because I don't think they figured out what everything was supposed to be.
I mean, you can take it. Yeah, you can take it either way. I think, as like she really is in love with that woman, or she's completely doing the same thing she's doing to this guy, like with this woman. She's just kind of like fucking off when she wants to, basically, with this woman too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I found it really interesting, and there is it came out of Jeremy O'Harris telling he's really good friends with Petos, the director, and he said, just offhandedly, was like, oh yeah, I got stuck in, I forget where, for maybe it was Warsaw, for a month because of a volcano eruption. We couldn't leave. And he found that idea so interesting, and then he wrote this movie about it. And I agree. It's just like I think he crafted a very interesting tale around that idea and made it like this magical realist, surreal, almost like universe, stars aligning. Something about it really spoke to me. I'm only
I don't even think that's.
I don't want to deal with you yelling at me about it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not meaning to yell. I do.
You're not yelling.
Angry. It's just frustrating because I think the movie itself is saying this stuff that you're bringing up, the romance, the thing about fate and all this stuff. It's not real, and it's not supposed to be real. And I think the movie is much more grounded than you're kind of implying. I don't know. There's something off about that kind of description of it. But I also didn't find it that interesting because it has characters just kind of not, either stating the obvious because it is what the plot is, or the narrator filling in all of those blanks because there are so many blanks that need to be filled in.
Yeah, but I don't know. I found it transfixing, and if you like these kind of, I don't know how to describe it because it is definitely it seems like there maybe isn't a lot there, but I do think they've really figured out these these characters in this story and what's going on with them, and even though it is elusive, I think it says a lot. So I'm going with my 3 stars. Where are you at on it?
I'm 2 stars on it.
Boo. Erupcja. I thought Charlie XCX was really good in it also.
Yeah, she's good.
I haven't liked anything else really.
Would this have been her first acting role?
It was.
Because
it was. Okay. Timing wise, yeah. But it ended up being the last one to come out.
Yeah, I know. That's so weird.
Yeah. So interesting.
Her little tiny not even 3 minute, probably like a 2-minute cameo essentially. And Faces of Death came out before this.
Yeah, that is right. Shot many years ago. Anyway, let's talk about Blue Heron, a movie I think we'll mostly agree on, but also disagree on a little bit. Here's the trailer for Blue Heron.
What is that?
Jason, he wanted to let us know that our son is dead on the front step. I told him not to worry. He will come back to life soon.
How are things with Jeremy?
It feels like somehow I'm cursed.
I got goosebumps watching that trailer. I found this movie deeply affecting and moving and personal, and God, what else? It's just so, I've seen movies like this before. Like, it's very similar to I would say like After Sun or like a Janet Planet. It's like a child's point of view movie. It's like a kind of like looking back at your childhood kind of memory and looking at it differently as an adult. But it's told with such texture and detail that, I don't know, I found it so transcendently good, even though I felt like it was doing a thing I've seen done before, just like speaking to the power of movies and how like everyone has their own story. And it also is about, it's meta. It's like about movies and how they are a vehicle to help get over things, but also maybe not enough. Like, I was very taken with this whole endeavor. Tell me about Blue Heron.
Yeah, it starts off as a family originally from Hungary, but they have moved to Canada, and they moved specifically to Vancouver Island, which is not the hip happening place in movies, because last week we talked about Hunting Matthew Nichols, which was set on Vancouver Island, and now Blue Heron set on Vancouver Island. So this family of 5, family of 6 moves to Vancouver Island, new house, new life. And it's about this girl named Sasha, played by Yulia Guvin as a kid. She's later played,
Amy Zimmer. I know
Amy
her.
Zimmer. Thank you.
She's an alt comedian from New York who is playing a serious role, I think, for the first time. I thought she was very good.
She's pretty good. Amy Zimmer plays her as an adult, and it is just, the first section is just about growing up and seeing that there is something wrong with her oldest brother, Jeremy, who has some kind of problems that nobody can figure out, and nobody does figure out. And that's the entire movie, is just exploring that uncertainty and that not knowing and learning things later on that you didn't know when you were a kid and how that affects you. There's a lot of very good stuff here, and I think most of that is in the first part. You
didn't like when it like souvenired itself and folded in on itself?
Yeah, that's where my problem lies with it. I still think it works. I think it's a very, very interesting and bold move to do that sort of meta reflection where you are the filmmaker. It's a first time feature, at least.
Yes.
Sophie Romvari, taking this big swing of saying, here's a story, but also here is a filmmaker later on making a movie about a documentary essentially about the past, using footage from that, but then also, without giving too much away, but also almost becoming a time travel movie in a weird way that doesn't. And I think that there's just enough gimmickry going on that it kept me at a distance.
Oh, interesting.
It really, really did.
I get that.
It's just a bit too much. It's a few too many layers just getting in the way of what I think is a very heartbreaking story that maybe didn't need all of that extra stuff to try to make it seem as if it's really exploring all of these deeper ideas about memory and about filmmaking and about how films can tell a story and also
but I do think it.
I don't think it.
Oh, okay. So I guess we differ in thinking that
that's all it is,
effective or not at getting at the meta elements of we're watching a filmmaker make a movie about her. Clearly, this is a very I mean, I don't think you have to read an interview with this filmmaker to realize this filmmaker is making a film about their childhood.
Obviously. But it's all. But the movie itself is not necessarily about the filmmaker herself. It's about a proxy too. You're adding that layer if you're watching an actress play a filmmaker, making a movie that's somewhat based on the real filmmaker, the actual filmmaker.
Like,
it's that layer, all of those layers. It's just a bit too much.
Oh, okay.
It didn't affect me.
I thought that thought that cocktail really went together nicely, and by the end, I was just like walloped. I was like, wow, she really did it. Just really like. Just really impressive debut filmmaking, I thought. Really impressive all around. As I said, it has really great texture and really great little details too, like the little girl holding a video camera during a harrowing moment, which I thought was really interesting because I'm like, okay, so this is the director putting a camera in her young hand. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I was always looking for the meta-ness, and then it eventually really got to it. And I was like, I was just very taken with it. I'm 3.5 stars on Blue Heron. I thought it was very, very good.
Yeah, I am 3 stars. I think it is. I think it's strong. I just think that all of that's extra stuff at the end just really, it just put up a wall for me. And I imagine the more you know about this filmmaker, either from reading an interview or if you're at a film festival and they're talking about everything that happened and this is the movie that was made, like, it's going to affect you because but I don't think the movie itself is necessarily telling that same story, because it just is trying to do these very interesting and very worthwhile and ambitious things. So I still think the movie is worthwhile. I'm just saying that something kept it from me liking it more.
Yes,
yeah,
for sure. Well, we're gonna have this argument again. Let's talk about Mile End Kicks, a movie I definitely liked more than you, but I know I'm not crazy about it like I was about Blue Heron. Here's a trailer for Mile End Kicks, starring Barbie Ferreira, who you might recognize from Faces of Death, which we talked about last week. Here's a trailer.
We were wondering, what are you writing? Oh, I'm a music critic. Oh, cool.
I just don't understand why you have to move to Montreal. You're not even French.
Montreal, the most exciting place for indie rock.
I'm feeling rough, I'm feeling wrong in the time of my life.
Hi.
Salut. There's a party tonight. Would you come?
I also have social anxiety. What? I don't blame you. Being alive is completely insane.
Who's the lead singer? He's the worst guy in Montreal.
I enjoyed this coming of age movie that was specifically targeted at my interests of criticism and music. I was once more into music than I am now. This is targeted right at me. It's basically almost famous. It's just doing Almost Famous, but making it even more of like a traditional kind of coming of age story, maybe. I don't know. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so Barbie Ferreira plays a young music journalist / critic who decides to move to Montreal to write a little book about Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill. I don't know why she specifically moves to Montreal, but it's also mostly because Montreal is at the time an inexpensive place to live, and it's where the indie rock scene
Yes, she's seeing
at the
Islands
time.
in the opening scene, a band I enjoy very much.
Yes. So she decides to move there and just tries to do the job, and also tries to break out into other stuff like doing publicity for a band, and then trying to get the book deal set up, but also pay her bills with a publication that's not giving her paying off her invoice. So she's got a lot of struggles there. I really liked all of that stuff. I really, really liked it. I really liked seeing all that happen. Then there's another angle the movie is doing, which is it's a romantic comedy with a love triangle where she is caught between two guys in a band. One of them's a vaguely nice guy who just doesn't seem that interested in sex or love in general. And the other guy is a jerk who also doesn't seem that interested in sex or love specifically with her. And she's trying to figure out which of these two guys is better for me. And the whole time I'm watching, I'm just thinking, neither of them. Let's just do the job. Let's see you grow up and become a professional and do all this and figure it all out. Why does this movie have a love triangle in it? That's my big problem with it, is I just think it gets in the way of what is a very specific story and a really interesting story. And instead it just throws all of this in here. And I just kept thinking, why does she need to choose between these two guys when she could just be who she is? And that would be fine, wouldn't it? Yeah. Wouldn't that be fine?
I think it's because it's trying to be like a rom-com for whatever reason, and subvert that in a way. But I don't know. I think it kind of works. I think Barbie's really good in this.
She is, yes.
She is a star. Like, it is clear Barbie Ferreira, the way I feel about Dylan O'Brien now, where I'm like, every time I see that kid, I'm like, God, he's so good. He's an adult now. He's probably old. He's probably not older than me. I can call him a kid. Barbie Ferreira, definitely a kid to me, a star. I think she's great. I think it's fun. The movie's fun and funny. And I don't know. It was such a specific, it's honed in on such a specific thing that I enjoy, that I think I was primed to like it and maybe forgive it for being a little more traditional, I guess, than it could have been. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about trying to pick between two people when you're young. It's kind of relatable. You're trying to figure out the rest of your life, and there probably are several options in front of you. Like, I don't know. I found it to be perfectly honest in that way. But maybe it's less interesting as a narrative.
I think it's a focus thing. I think that just is so much about that choice and about how those two guys treat her and what she takes away from that, instead of, hey, maybe let's keep the focus on what it is like to be a woman in journalism at this time, in this place, in this specific situation where she is trying to, find her own voice, but she's going up against older guys who don't even want to listen to what she has to say. That's a big part of it. It's one of the opening scenes. It's one of like climactic monologues she gets at the end, is talking about that experience. But then the movie actually continues from that point, and it keeps going with the love triangle. And I
feel like maybe
I felt the climax of the movie is more her asserting, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, these are the problems I have, this is how I'm going to try to get past all of that. And instead it just keeps going on to the point where it's like, oh, I guess the real important part is, which guy is she going to pick?
Yeah, there's something about it that's like trying to be this authentic experience, maybe, because I feel like this also feels like a personal movie to me, where the writer director maybe was a music journalist, because it's so specific. Like, she's writing like Spin magazine articles in this movie.
But
I don't know, I feel like they nail that specific detail, and like that guy is horrible to her and really impressively mean.
Like at levels that you don't expect.
You're just like, Jesus Christ, this guy is awful. So I don't know.
Somehow says the worst things without saying anything at all. It's a very specific type of terrible character.
Emotional specificity or something that I was vibing with the whole time. Like, I thought it was good. Like, maybe not great, but a very good enough movie that there's something about the depiction of the job as like, you need to be an ambitious person who's also self-destructive and kind of delusional, has delusions of grandeur, but is emotionally intelligent. I don't know. I just felt like kind of seen by these characters or something. But yeah, I don't know. I liked it. Barbie Ferreira is very good. The two guys she's with are both interesting, good performances. A good little, I don't know, indie coming of age movie, rom-com, romance. It definitely needs to be thrown in there, because it is a big part of it. So 3 stars for me.
2.5 stars for me for Mile End Kicks.
All right, and now for something completely different. Let's talk about Wasteman, starring what's his name? David Johnson, the guy from Alien Romulus and The Long Walk, who's like we've talked about giving standout performances every time, and Tom Blythe, who I've definitely seen in stuff, but he was in The Hunger Games, the last one.
He was in the Hunger Games prequel, the first Hunger Games prequel. He was also in, I think we covered it. Oh no, now I have to find it.
What?
Plainclothes.
Plainclothes. Oh yeah, he's the cop in Plainclothes. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, I've seen this guy before, but he really impressed me here as well. Here's the trailer for Wasteman.
What you need to do is start visualizing your life outside.
I'm getting out.
Of course, this is all dependent on continued good behavior.
You got a new cell, mate.
We are open for business.
Can't have all that shit in here.
Yo, man, you need to relax. You fucking messing with my zen.
Who else is serving up?
Well, no.
It's his business.
This is a great, gripping prison drama about a guy, David Johnson, who has served a lot of time and is about to be let out because of the way the law has changed or something with regard to how long he should be there. And all that's thrown into question when he gets a new cellmate who is a fucking psychopath, drug dealer, violent person. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But I thought it was really compelling. Just basically a two-hander with great performances. There's other people and other prisoners, but you really feel the quandary this dude's in.
Yeah, he just wants to keep on the low. He doesn't want anyone to notice him. He just wants to go through his prison sentence and get out of prison and go back to his life, whatever's left of it. And then he gets this opportunity to get early release. But now the one prisoner that he would not want as a cellmate is the one who's there and that everyone has their eyes on. The guards have their eyes on him. Other prisoners, especially the ones who are doing all of the drug dealing and everything else, fixing up all the other prisoners with the stuff from the outside world. It's just that Tom Blythe's character has a better way of doing it. And so he becomes the big man in the cell block. And now David Johnson's character has to figure out, how do you balance this? How do I keep on in this guy's good graces? And then how do I not let the guards catch me doing anything? And how do I not get into trouble with these other prisoners who really want to stop this guy? It's a really good movie just about prison. It's about specifically the way that prison has changed in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
Like drones are a big part of this, that, the way that the Blythe character gets his stuff is just somebody flies a drone in and gets it on there.
Yeah.
There are prisoners recording people getting beaten with their cell phones that that they hide, and they post things on social media telling people, setting bounties on other prisoners. I really like those details that, of course this stuff technology's got to affect all that, but the movie is really about how, also how the cruelty and the dehumanization of prisons have stayed the same, and that's probably never going to change unless we have some big changes in terms of that kind of system. So, and I think that's really what it's about, is that level of dehumanization and what it does to people.
Well, yes, because, something happened to David Johnson's character that, made him go to prison, but was he improved by being put in the penal system, or was he maybe made more, you know what I mean? Or was he put in situations
exactly
that forced him to be a worse person? So yeah, it's actually quite compelling, even though it's also it's quite compelling, thought-provoking is what I'm trying to say, in addition to being just a gripping thriller of tense, holy shit, this is bad situation, bad stuff is happening to these people. It's good. It's very good. Very great.
Blythe is really good. He's intimidating,
so
physically and psychologically.
It's so scary. He's also the lead in The People We Meet on Vacation, which is hilarious.
Oh yes, that's right.
Because that proves his fucking that he's a good actor, because that is not, night and day difference of performance.
Oh yeah.
In that
I didn't even think about that.
Literally didn't recognize him or think of him as that same guy. That is incredible. So now I'm like, Tom Blythe, he's on my list of young actors I think are really good, along with Barbie Ferreira and what's the other one that I mentioned earlier? Dylan O'Brien, big fan.
Yes.
Anyway, 3 stars for me for Wasteman.
Yep, 3 stars for me as well.
All right, let's talk about Lena Headey in Ballistic. She was also in Normal. She's busy. The trailer for Ballistic is here.
Hey,
Hi, Mom.
I miss you.
I miss you too.
We're going back out there again tomorrow.
The bullet. Kind was it?
I know being a parent has softened me with regard to movies because even this not very good movie has the basis, the basic setup of kid dies and mom kind of it's like this movie's like barely a revenge movie. It seems like it's gonna be, and then tell me what it's about. It's interesting.
This is my major hang up with the movie.
Confusing.
Yeah, this is my major hang up with the movie is that it sets itself up to be a revenge movie, but it's also trying to be something much bigger that doesn't have anything to do with a revenge story. So Lena Headey plays a woman whose adult son, obviously goes off into war somewhere in the Middle East, is killed in action, and she's devastated and wants answers and wants to figure out why her son died, who's responsible for it, and punish that person. The problem is she doesn't know where to start, and the movie doesn't really know where to the movie does know where to start. The movie starts just trying to pick apart all of the things that went into this young man being killed. That there was a bullet that shot and killed him, obviously. That bullet came from somewhere. The Lena Headey's character actually manufactures, cartridges that somehow find their way into the hands of, American soldiers and people fighting against American soldiers. And she doesn't understand how that happens. It's about people recruiting into the military for various reasons and how they go about doing that. So she's just trying to find answers, but it's set up as just a generic revenge movie where she's literally writing on her hand who her next target to look at and maybe do something to is. Like, does she really need to do that? She's going one person at a time. Does she really need to write down on her hand who it is? But it's a neat, I guess, visual gimmick. I don't know. This movie is very confusing to me because I think its ideas are sound. I just think the execution of it just turns it into something that doesn't fit. It doesn't fit this. If it's a movie about a mother's grief and looking for answers, make it about that. Why try to turn it into a thriller where you have these vague targets that don't really
that's
matter?
What was confusing to me. I'm like, so this movie is ostensibly it makes ammo. The ammo that she makes ends up in her son. So it's supposed to be this indictment of American-made weaponry landing in the hands of terrorists abroad and our enemies abroad, and how that leads to our soldiers getting killed with their, American stuff, which is such a interesting idea to bring up and talk about and make a movie about. But it's splitting the difference between that and it's just a generic, this mom's son was killed and she knows guns. Or she doesn't know guns, but she's going to learn guns because she needs to now. And it splits the difference between those two ideas, and it doesn't really amount to much in the end.
But there's also, don't forget, it's not just that she's so uncertain about it because it's not just that the the ammunition ends up in the hands of, the other side. It's also that there could have been a friendly fire incident and the military could be trying to cover it up. And that's why there's no investigation into the killing and there's basic stuff that they could have done if they wanted to figure out what happened, but they don't care. And so she thinks that might be part of it too, that it's a cover up. She also turns into essentially, a conspiracy theorist who starts to see, infiltrators everywhere all around her too. It's such a strange movie because I think it is interesting in terms of trying to be a critique or an examination of war and combat and how all of that happens, and also about people getting trapped into rabbit holes of conspiracy stuff because of what happens to them personally. but just the framing of it as a revenge movie is so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tackling way too many ideas and too many bigger ideas than the execution allows for. I think that might just be it.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. I'm gonna be nice and give it 2.5 because, like, I do think it's worth having the conversation about the topics that this movie wants to talk about. And it's unfortunate that to do it, I feel like maybe the director or writer felt like he had to fashion it into a revenge generic movie starring Lena Headey to get it made or something. But yeah, it's halfway there for me, halfway interesting, kind of ultimately doesn't amount to much though. 2.5 for me.
Yeah. It's kind of the same boat. Why, what my hangups with Mile Line Kicks were with that, it's you brought it up, that a movie about a young woman journalist isn't going to sell, but a romantic comedy about a young woman journalist will sell, apparently. This one is tough exploration of current American culture and obsession with war and obsession with just conspiracy stuff isn't going to sell, but Lena Headey in a revenge thriller about that stuff might.
Yeah, put her with a gun on a poster.
Put her with a gun on the poster, and there you go.
Call
you
it Ballistic.
Tickets right there.
We'll make a few $1 million on VOD with angry people who didn't like it. It's kind of the whole rub.
2 stars for me for Ballistic.
That's fair. Let's talk about Mad Bills to Pay, a movie that is a very small, very New York indie, but is absolutely, recommendable and good and worthwhile for everybody, I think. Here's the trailer for Mad Bills to Pay.
These nutties, let me have Pikachu, nutties, nutties.
We met at the beach.
You gotta get a cheese pizza, extra cheese, beef patty and cheese, extra cheese with the pepperoni.
Who is she?
I'm about to be a father!
Qué vida vives tú, Preña una muchacha, la traes a vivir aquí.
We're gonna have our own spot, I promise you.
Okay, how are we gonna get our own spot?
Bro, I gotta make some money.
What's up? Where you from?
Me, I'm from out here, by Pelham Bay, Who want the yellow?
South Sherson.
This movie is just a great little slice of life dramedy, I guess, because it is funny, but it is serious. It's about a guy who gets a young girl pregnant, and he's, what is he, 19, and she's like 15 or something is the idea.
I think it's 16.
Yeah, it's like, that's the dynamic there.
Yeah, that's the dynamic there.
Like the mom does say they could arrest you for rape for that, Yeah. But it's about like this guy who, he means well. He wants to do right by this baby and his family, and he wants to do what's right. And he just is so not worried about anything. But his solution is like he's selling nutcrackers on the beach, which is like, selling alcoholic drinks to kids on the beach, essentially, to make his money, which is definitely a thing in New York that's real. But like, he's like, don't worry about it. I got a plan. And it's like, that's not a plan, man. That's just like what you're doing. So what would you say the movie's like about, and why is it good? Yeah.
It's about that. It's about a guy who is just trying to do what he thinks is his best, but it's not anywhere near enough. But he is, in theory, a decent guy that you can't really blame just because he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's 19. And I mean, I get that. Everybody gets that. All of us were teenagers once without any sense of what we were going to do, and hopefully some of us grew up in some ways at least. But this guy is just stuck in that spot, and it's about that movie, but it's also about everyone around him, his younger sister, his mother, the girlfriend. And what I really liked about this movie is that he is kind of his own little island, even though he is connected to all these people. It's not just because he is self-involved and he's stuck on trying to do the things that he wants to do his way, but it's also that those 3 women and girls know exactly who he is, and they know that they need to have their own little thing going on just to kind of keep him from messing things up too badly for them. There's a lot of little details of this movie that I really liked, like the way the girlfriend starts talking to his mother in Spanish. Like, that's all. She just starts talking Spanish around the house because his mother speaks Spanish, but she doesn't come into it that way. She's speaking English most of the time, and the mother doesn't want her there, but eventually she does take her in because she's living there. I just really liked it. It's such a warm movie about real people who feel real in situations that feel real.
Yeah, I guess that's
really like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you're watching the lives of these very authentic feeling people. It feels like almost you're watching a documentary, and that those performances make that happen, right? So like those
Yeah.
are really
Oh, yeah.
strong performances of these people who you just feel like you're watching people you may actually know interact, and they're not movie star looking, they're just real people. Yeah, it's just a good movie about it doesn't open with a quote that says the working man is a sucker, which I loved also. Just like a great debut and a very like, again, slice of life. Look at this very culturally specific community and what their lives are like. And yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a small movie, but a very fun, good energy, very affectionate, a lot of heart. It's a good movie. 3 stars for Mad Bills to Pay, or Destiny Dile que me no soy malo.
Yes, it does have that full title. 3 stars for me as well for Mad Bills to Pay, etc., etc.,
etc., etc. Eagles of the Republic. Is it an Egyptian film, or was it just set in Egypt? I don't know who made this movie.
It is just set in Egypt.
Okay. Who made this movie? I have no idea what country made this movie. It's not in English.
Sala, it is hang on a second. It is Swedish, I believe.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
I'll look this up while we're talking.
Great. Here's a trailer for Eagles of the Republic, a movie from a place.
زين بس شو فهمي هاي
انت طالعه ممثله زي بابا. قصدي ده مش بابا، احنا بس اصحاب.
wonderful عندنا عرض من المتحد عايزينك تعمل دور نمبر 1. انا ما بشتغلش مع الاجازه دي، ناس ما حدش ينفع يقول لها لا. هي الحكايه بالظبط. ابنك ده المفروض تقول له خد بالك، انت خدت القرار السليم. تقول لها تدوني بابني يا فوزي، تحب تنضم لنا؟ ان شاء الله يا فندم، ان شاء الله. مدام رئيس الاركان دكتور منصور بيشتغل مع مكتب الرئاسه وهو موجود معانا.
All right. Where's it from?
Sweden.
All right. Swedish movie set in Egypt. Tell me about it.
So it is about an actor, like the biggest actor in Germany, played by Fairs, and he is been cast in a movie about the current sitting president of Egypt, who has some authoritarian leanings, to put it mildly, and it's about his early days, about the president's early days, leading one revolution before another revolution where he took power, and it's all propaganda, including the casting of this actor who is many inches taller than the real guy. The president wants the actor to have hair, even though the actor points out the president's been bald since he was like in middle school. There's no reason why would I have hair. It's all propaganda. The actor goes along with it because he's an actor. That's what he does. He doesn't think anything of it. It's just, this is just what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make the best movie possible out of this obvious piece of just whitewashing history and making this guy look good, and doesn't think much of it because he's famous and powerful, but he doesn't realize there are far more powerful people in this country who are trying to influence the way this movie is made and everyone within the production and what they want out of it. It's really interesting because it starts kind of as a lighthearted satire about the movie making industry and about politics, but by the end, it gets heavy, man. It gets very, very heavy in terms.
It reminded me of The Secret Agent in a way.
Yeah,
about these type of governments. But yeah, that was a great description of the movie. I don't know what else to say really. I thought it was very compelling and well shot, and I don't know. 13 movies. I don't know what to say at this point. Sometimes it's like I thought it was cool, political thriller, a guy who has to star in a propaganda film. That third act is really good. I don't know. What else can I say?
That turn. I mean, it when it happens. There's the turn where he realizes just what he's caught up in, and it's far more than just propaganda, and it's far more than even just I don't even know how to describe it without giving it away, but you'll know when it happens if you can see it, and it just the entire movie turns from there. And the fact that the filmmaker is able to make that complete 180 turn after doing this very funny comedy about this actor, just kind of he doesn't know what he's doing in his personal life either. He's trying to stay separated from his wife without making it a big deal. He's having an affair with a younger woman, and he has to get medication to help him out. It's funny stuff, and then it just turned incredibly
the pharmacist
serious.
who recognizes him,
yes,
and giving him Viagra, and is like, well, I know this isn't for you, but you should use this one instead. It's actually better. You'll be hard as a rock or whatever he says. Yeah, it's really good stuff. I don't know what else to say. Sometimes it's not much. Mark did a good job. I don't know what to say. 3 stars for me for Eagles of the Republic. I liked it.
Yep. 3 stars for me as well.
Fair enough. Let's talk about Marama. Hopefully I have more to say about this one. I know we're going to disagree maybe ever so slightly on this. I don't know. Here's a trailer for Marama.
90 years ago, the world's greatest navigator discovered New Zealand and claimed it on behalf of the British Crown. But this evening, we have a very special guest. She has traveled from the other side of the world, and I am so pleased that she is here.
Kei konei koe, kamua, kamuri.
You can live here with us.
I'm afraid I can't. I need to find my parents.
I want to help you, Mary.
I thought this was just okay. I thought it was missing a little something to get it over the top. I feel like it just kind of was on rails, going to exactly where it was always going to go, and then it goes out in gory style, and that was it. Tell me about it.
I enjoyed it. It's a kind of a haunted house movie set in the British Highlands or just around the moors of Britain. So it's a classic sort of gothic horror tale. But the key of it is that the woman who's coming to this haunted house and is doing all this stuff is a New Zealand woman, a Maori woman specifically, who has a history with somebody at the house and is just trying to figure out her ancestry. And that's the real story that's being told here. I think between the lines of all the horror stuff and all the ghost story stuff potentially and all these visions that she's having, it is about kind of reclaiming history by way of this genre. It's kind of like a reverse colonization almost, which I found fascinating, that the British come in, colonize New Zealand, and now you have New Zealand coming in and saying, okay, you did that, we're going to take your standard horror genre of the haunted house and we're going to use it to tell the story of how awful colonization of New Zealand was by way of this story that just tells it outright. I really like that subversive element. I really like just how on the nose it is, and I think sometimes you need to be on the nose, especially when you're doing something like this.
Yeah, there's something about it that was just like, I don't know, I feel like we don't really get enough of a sense of Mary or Marama and who she was or who she is, and I think
that's part of the point. I think that is part of the point, though.
I guess so. I guess it is about, it is about her figuring out her identity. That's fair. But I don't know. I just, again, felt like it was all just kind of building up to, there's like an obviousness to it or something with what it's doing. And it just, again, it feels like I'm watching a movie that I know is going to end. Again, it's my fault because I'm watching a movie that I know Dark Sky put out, and Dark Sky puts out horror movies. And I'm like, okay, so this eventually is going to turn into a bloody thing. And it eventually kind of does. And yeah, I don't know. It's not bad. I just think it's like the period look of it, very good. It looks, the production design, very good. I thought the exploration of, the culture and the colonization, all that stuff is very compelling. It's just, I don't know. It just feels like I knew what this movie was going to do, and it did it. And not that every movie needs to surprise you, but I don't know. I thought it was underwhelming because knowing it's a horror movie going in, what else could it be? And what else can it do? It just felt kind of, again, stale on rails kind of thing for me. But I appreciate what it's getting at. And it does have some nasty gore in it eventually, and it looks quite nice. So it's like an affectionate 2.5 from me.
I think it has some other surprises beyond that. I think once the backstory of everything and what you learn, some of it's obvious, but I think where it ultimately ends up is a lot darker than I was expecting it to be, even beyond the fact that it does turn bloody and gory by the end. But I actually did really appreciate just the subtext that becomes the text of it, and very blatantly. I just really appreciated the way that it tells that story. So 3 stars for me for Marama.
All right, the last one, the latest film from Fatih Akin, Amrum. Here's a trailer.
Was ist denn das für eine Welt, in der sie jetzt aufwachsen muss?
Es kommt nicht darauf an, wo man geboren ist, sondern von wem man abstammt. Von der Ahnenreihe.
Unsere Soldaten kämpfen fürs Vaterland. Für uns.
Russland 50 kilometer vor Berlin.
Was tut man til Blazanski, kriegt du an?
Kommt Vater jetzt nach Haus? Wer kommst du darauf? Wenn der Krieg bald vorbei ist.
Wie geht's deiner Mutter?
This kind of quietly blew me away as a very small seeming movie, but I think it's a really clever idea to do like a coming of age movie essentially about a child realizing what the world around him is like, but it's a Hitler youth at the end of World War II. And it's not just the way he feels, it's the way his mother feels. Is that's really like his opinions come from his mother, right? So partially it's about a movie to me about realizing, you know, we all have that moment where you realize your parents were just like two people that had their own lives and worldviews and eventually came together and now you're here and all that stuff. And there's like an entire world beyond the world you're raised in. And this movie kind of shows like a little boy realizing that in the end of the war and trying to navigate that. And I found it deeply unsettling and good. But that was very, very good.
Yeah, it is about that because it's, and specifically putting it at this time of change in Germany. It's set on this remote island that has its own little culture and everything. Like these people are just going along. If they were going along with the Nazis, they didn't, you know, it was just because that's just the way it was. But they had their own little thing. And they, so when the war is about to end, they're almost excited about it. They're very happy that it's just like, this is done. And so that kid has grown up.
He's like, what do you mean we're happy it's done?
Yeah, like what do you mean the
you guys said Hitler was fucking awesome? And
yeah, and now he's realizing, oh, everybody has been lying to me.
Oh, propaganda. You know, oh no.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. And he realizes it. And yeah, you're right. It is interesting, but it's telling this other story. The plot of it is just that his mother, after Hitler dies, his mother becomes depressed and won't eat anything. So he tries to get her the one thing she says that she might eat, which is white bread with butter and honey. So he's going around this island, which has this, you know,
which again, such a smart way into a story. Because what is it telling you? How awful conditions are.
Yep.
Post-war and how they don't have enough. They don't have yeast to make bread and shit like that.
They don't have anything. Yeah, they don't have anything. Yeah, all the stuff that they use to make bread is being used as medication for all the soldiers that got wounded.
Wheat is used for wounds. I found that from this movie.
Yep. So he's running around, and it's also a good excuse to get an idea of these people and these characters and what their opinions are on things too. And you see that divide between the mother and everybody else on the island, essentially, except for the one guy who's like a diehard Nazi and still hanging out hope that something's going to happen. And it's really good. It's really good stuff, but it's really subdued and subtle, and it's just telling the story about this specific place and this attitude of these people and how this kid does learn things about himself and his parents and the world by way of this little tiny story. It's a good one.
Yeah, I was unexpectedly taken with it. Also, like, just the way like a baby is born right as Hitler dies. There's like a lot of symbolic things going on. I just thought it was really just well conceived in every way. One of my favorite Letterboxd reviews of it was saying it's a Nazi kid doing side quests the entire time, which technically that is kind of what it is. But yeah, seeing the end of World War II and the fall of Hitler through a little boy who was taught that Hitler was great is so. I just am like, wow, that's so smart. What a cool idea. And I thought that the movie definitely delivered on that premise of you're just watching a little boy trying to cheer up his mother, but the conditions are horrific and he's learning a lot in these times. Yeah, I thought it was really beautifully shot. I liked where it ended. I thought it was great. This is a 3.5-star movie for me.
Nice. 3 stars for me. For Amrum.
All right. Fair enough. Do I have to do the recap? No, you have to.
I'm doing the recap.
Good luck to you.
I got it. Yeah, here we go. Ooh, okay. Lee Cronin's The Mummy, 2 stars from both of us. Normal with Bob Odenkirk. We both really liked Odenkirk's performance. 3 stars from both of us. The Christophers, 4 stars from Brett for Steven Soderbergh's most recent movie, 3 stars from me. Balls Up, Peter Farrelly's comedy, 1.5 stars from both of us. Erupcja, 3 stars from Brett, who found it romantic and mysterious and mystical, and 2 stars from me, who didn't. Blue Heron, 3.5 stars from Brett, 3 stars from me. Mile End Kicks, 3 stars from Brett, 2.5 stars from me. 3 stars from both of us for Wasteman, the new prison drama with David Johnson and Tom Blythe. Ballistic, 2.5 stars from Brett, 2 stars from me. 3 stars from both of us for Mad Bills to Pay, a very delightful and charming indie movie. Eagles of the Republic, 3 stars from both of us. Marama, Split Decision, 2.5 stars from Brett, 3 stars from me. And Amrum, 3.5 stars from Brett, 3 stars from me.
All right, let's jump to you. Yeah, thank you.
Let's catch my breath there.
Whew, 13 movies. We did it. Let's talk YouTube comments briefly. Mark said we should have called the show, or not Mark, sorry. Ed Douglas said we should have called the show You, Roger, Me, and Tuscany. It could be like the trip to Italy, but I guess it might end up being more like Weekend at Bernie's. I'm still going to see it just in case Owen Wilson, who starred in Cairo's last movie, might show up in an end credit scene. Doesn't happen. Sorry to tell you, that does not happen. I didn't stay, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen. Someone said Outcome was actually quite good. Dusty Thoughts 95 agrees with you on Outcome.
That's good. A lot of people didn't think that. I actually didn't look at what was the audience score on that one. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm curious as well. You can look that up while I do another one.
Jeez. Critic score 29%. Oof. Audience score wasn't much better, so we're alone. 33% on the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes for Outcome. Whatever. I enjoyed it. I think Keanu Reeves is really good in it.
Carrie Mulligan says, and while you were sleeping in Tuscany, I liked how the camera was constantly reminding the audience of the grandma, quiet and lurking in the shadows as she preps her big climactic speech that'll fix everything. However, the best and strangest rom-com of the weekend was an Indian film called LIK, Love Insurance Company, a futuristic film about a romance app that finds your companion through an algorithm, which in concept doesn't sound futuristic, but this movie ends with a very entertaining man versus robot battle. You find everything, Carrie Mulligan. I'm very impressed. Faces of Death, this is MWS 51581. Faces of Death immediately made me think of 8mm with Nicolas Cage. It was interesting to see a movie that explored similar territory 27 years ago with the technology we didn't have in 99. I also like this Faces of Death. I had a laundry list of quibbles of the people doing stupid things in a horror movie variety, but by the end, I thought it worked despite all that, and maybe because of all that. Totally agree. I do think that movie is very impressive and works better than I thought it would initially. Leonardo Lopez says, regarding Lorne, which Mark reviewed on his website, a documentary about Lorne Michaels. I didn't get to it because it was theatrical only, and I didn't feel like it was worth my time in a week of 13 movies to go do that. He says, when it comes to regarding Lorne, I've heard that there is not a lot of negative things that are said about Lorne in that movie. When it comes to either biopics or documentaries about specific people, I would like for them to actually point out the flaws about the subject as well as their many accomplishments, because without mentioning the flaws, it makes the movie look as though they're treating the subject like a god, when that is not the case at all. That's the word hagiographic, which I use all the time. Sadly, that is not, what I feel like is going to happen with Michael next week, because according to insiders, the movie was supposed to be 3 hours, with the last hour focusing on Michael Jackson's court cases. But the victims of Michael said during court that their accounts were not to be dramatized, and so that last hour of the movie was cut, and reshoots were done as a result. Because of that, the movie looks like nothing more than a showcase of Michael's classic songs and a sanitized version of his upbringing with nothing to chew on. I'll still watch it, but the likelihood of me getting anything out of it besides musical numbers and acting are very low. Couldn't agree more. That's exactly what Michael will be. They're not telling you that it's a part 1 of 2. It absolutely will be a part 1 of 2.
It has to be. The marketing is a little too
focused on the
people who know that.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that his story begins at the,
right.
It's one of those things, like, that means his story is going to continue, right?
Yes, and if you read the tea leaves in the earnings calls, he's basically said as much without confirming it. They're like, we're planning on. It basically has said Michael's
going to make a bunch of money.
It's going to make probably $1 billion. I'm guessing.
I think it's mostly they just want to see how much money the sequel is going to make before they greenlight it.
Yeah. Even though it might
just be for budgeting purposes.
Yeah, I do think it is done, and they're waiting to see what they can do for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a possibility too.
So
we'll review that next week.
That's next week. We will review Michael next week, alongside I think a Netflix movie called Apex, A comedy with Jason Segel and Samara Weaving that I should have seen this week, but I didn't go. That comes out next week.
Over Your Dead Body.
Over Your Dead Body. The movie I Swear, the BAFTA controversy movie about a guy with Tourette's. What else?
And the lead actor won Best Actor up against like a lot of the Oscar nominees. He wasn't, because the movie hadn't come out in the US yet. He wasn't eligible, but he beat out everybody else. So
yes, indeed. So that something called Fuse, plenty of stuff. We'll be back. Hopefully there's not 13. All right.
No, I don't even have 13. Great. So hooray.
Hooray. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
The show starts in 1...
Shut up. Shut up. Ush.